Hi, I'm Bowtie Dave. Good morning and welcome to the Bowtie, Florida room. Some of you know what this means. It's probably rainy, windy, or cold out. Well, it's not rainy now. It was rainy earlier, but it is windy and cold out there. Good grief, it is chilly. It only got down to like 38 degrees, 40 degrees, but yeah, it's a little cold to be doing this outside, and I know the wind was too much, so which is why we're in here right now. But the purpose of this video, and of course, if you're just stumbling along finding the channel, this channel is really my own personal log, and I would like to record things here that happen, dates, things that may or may not work. It's my own education, and it's good to log things and find the best way that you can log. Well, for me, I'm a blabbermouth, and so I like to log on video. Some people like to log on pictures. Some people like to log in a book. I have never had any luck logging in a book regularly. I mean, it was torturous, but you know what? I don't mind clicking on a camera and doing a quick video. But so if you're coming along here, discovering this channel, please subscribe. If you've already subscribed, thank you very much. It helps immensely. We are trying to grow a channel. Maybe we can share some information with others. This video, however, may or may not see the light of day. In fact, if this experiment doesn't work, it may just disappear, and 20 years from now, some whistleblower can uncover the conspiracy. No conspiracies here. But what I have in my hand here is I have an ugly Fatali hot pepper plant. And it was planted in July 22nd of 2022. Today is February 3rd of 2023. So, August, September, October, November, December, January. We're about 6.5 months later, and this poor plant has been sitting in this cup the whole time. In fact, I think the seed was actually planted in this cup, and it's been sitting here basically waiting to be put out into something useful. Well, it has been selected for a useful project. And I recently heard someone, I won't mention Luke's name over at MI Gardener, say that pepper plants do not benefit from being buried deeper. Now, I know he talked about tomato plants, he talked about a few others. Potatoes, of course, they'll grow roots all the way up their stem. Not that you're going to transplant a potato. Not recommended from what I understand. I've never have. But my brain, I have an ADD brain. I can't remember squat. So if this doesn't work, you know why. Because my brain remembered wrong. And it's very possible. In fact, it's even more likely than possible. But my brain told me, he said, wait a minute. You've done roots on pepper plants, I think. I think I've taken cuttings and rooted them. Or I know I've had them pup out, which means they put out another little plant and you can take, and that may just come from roots. But anyway, what I want to do, I'm going to do a somewhat controlled experiment. Now, I have not looked at the roots on this. Again, it's a Fatali from July of 2022. This is 6.5 months later. I have not checked the roots on this, but I have a feeling this bugger is root bound. Yeah, that's what I was hoping for. Yes, this is quite root bound. Oh my goodness, there's a big old air gap down there. That's interesting. That's where the hole was, and it washed out some soil. That's interesting. It's had good water. I always keep my seedlings out at the side yard. If you've done any of my video tours, you know the side garden has overhead watering very regularly, every 2 to 3 days. And also, what I'm going to do here first is we're going to take this plant, which is pretty freshly watered. The soil is pretty moist. We're going to take this plant, and I've got a ribbon here. And I am going to, now bear with me. Please bear with me for just a minute because this is an experiment. And if it works, I'm going to be very happy that my brain didn't fail me. If it does not work, again, this will never see the light of day. So what I am doing here is I am going to take this ribbon and I am going to tie it here right at soil level. And I'm just going to loosely tie it. I'm not going to tie it tight. I'm going to loosely tie it down here right at soil level so that hopefully, this thing will indicate whether roots have grown above soil level, whether it can do adventitious roots. Now, okay, adventitious roots. Let me explain. When you put a tomato in the ground, you see there's the little hairs along there, and when you put a tomato, if it's real leggy, and like if it's like this, you can actually bury a tomato up to here. And what it will do is it'll grow roots all down the stem and make this massive root ball, which feeds the tomato tremendously, gives it a huge advantage, and it grows just, wow. It'll really give it some health. I've actually done that in buckets, and in these deep buckets, and seen that firsthand because it'll grow a lot of roots. However, I want to see if a pepper plant will do it. I may be wrong. Okay, I'm probably wrong. I'll admit it. I may just absolutely be wrong. But I'm going to bury, in fact, I'm going to take off these little leaves down here at the base so they don't rot. I'm trying to get this to work, give it every advantage. There's just a few little branches of leaves trying to come out here. We have had some cold weather, but this plant has come in for all that cold weather. So it has not been exposed to the freezing cold that we had here in Florida over Christmas. That was one of the leaves I just cut off. But it's got my soil. You can look at my other videos and see how I do my seed starting soil. You can see it's got a lot of roots. In fact, look here. It's got roots coming up the top. It's got roots all over the side. This thing is aching to get out. And I am going to leave this ribbon right here at the ground and at the soil, original soil level, and we are going to bury this thing as deep as we can. Okay? So you can see I've trimmed off all the leaves. Get you to focus there. I've trimmed off all the leaves. Nothing is going to rot. And then the first thing, now there is some actually new growth up here at the top. It actually looks pretty good. I think it has potential. But what we're going to do here is we're going to put this in this bucket right here. Nice deep bucket. And you can see I put some fabric down there in the bottom to just create, and there are drainage holes. This is one of my original buckets from like 4 years ago that I planted tomatoes and peppers in successfully. Did very well with them. Everything that you see out there now on the garden tours started in buckets like these. Yeah, okay? So buckets work. If you don't have a lot of space, use a bucket. Seriously. They're awesome. Grow bags are awesome. So many things you can do. Excuse me. Okay, so we got this cleaned up. I got fabric down here in the bottom. I'm going to be setting this right on the bottom of the bucket. Okay, I'm going to, since it is so root bound, you don't always have to take out the, tease out the roots. Some people do, some people don't. You know what? Everybody grows these things, and they work. But I am just really impressed with all the roots that are in here. Holy cow. This is a nice root ball. Look at all those great roots. So, straight to the bottom of the bucket. Thump. There it is. That ribbon is still down in there, okay? We're going to bury this thing down in there. Now, I've got a mix of soil here. I'm actually going to start at the bottom down here with some of the Stay Green potting mix that I get at my local Lowe's. You can look in my other videos to see why I do it. This is not very moist. In fact, it's not moist at all. But the stuff in here, I actually poured about half a gallon of captured rainwater in this bucket. And it has, what does it have? It has about half this stuff, the Stay Green potting soil. It has about half my Equestrian Center compost, which is a little high in wood chips this year, unfortunately. It has a scoop. Okay, yeah, I know I already did 2 halves. Just play along with me. It has a scoop of perlite, and it has a, all right, let me get this out of my hands first. And it has a little juice glass of this Dr. Earth's organic, natural yada yada whatever that I get from Lowe's also. Notice it has a 463. 463. Shoots, roots, fruits. I'm more interested right now in shoots, that's the leaves, and roots. So I'm going to give it a little boost. Yeah, I know, unfair advantage. Later I'm going to feed it with something that actually comes in with a bigger last number, just because when I want it to start making the fruits. But for right now, I just put a scoop in here. I mix it in this bucket here. I'm putting in the bottom just the regular Stay Green, nothing extra. It is a little dry. I'm not worried about that. That plant is still on the bottom. Okay, I turn it up. You can see plant's on the bottom. The top is not raised at all. I'm trying to do this as a controlled experiment as possible, because we're going to be digging this thing up and looking at these roots. And in I don't know, a month or so, how long does it take for this thing to root up the stem? If it does, okay. I'm really glad I did not mention Luke over at MI Gardener when he said that, because I don't want to out anybody. I really don't. This is just fun. Don't get me wrong, because I watch everything Luke does. He has a phenomenal channel. They have a seed company. They have all kinds of products. Folks, if you're not hooked up with MI Gardener yet, then you need to be, because they do some good stuff. But look here. Can you see down there? The ribbon is just barely showing down there. So I wanted to make sure that that ribbon is actually going to be right at original soil level. So I'm going to start putting in this mix, and it's kind of roughly mixed. It's not well mixed, but it is moist. And I'm going to take this outside and water it real good. But the big thing is, watch how far I bury it. And I love when I was out there looking at all my seedlings, I saw this growth on top, and I thought, okay, that's my victim right there. And if this thing survives, then hey, I have another Fatali pepper. If it does not survive, hey, I don't have another Fatali pepper. I'll plant some more. That's all there is to it, folks. So again, I'm not outing anybody. I'm playing on a memory that my faulty brain, and I know my brain is faulty, but I'm thinking, wait, I'm sure I saw that. I'm probably wrong. I know. I'm probably wrong. But I'm going to give this thing every opportunity to root up that stem. Because my brain says, yeah, you've done that. All right. Oop, there's a leaf in there. We don't need that. All right. So now, folks, I'm showing this whole thing because this is an experiment. This is my record of what I did here. And today is February 3rd, 2023. And I'm going to give this thing, in fact, I can see as I got down to the bottom of the bucket, I'm getting more of the equestrian compost, which has wood chips. So this is going to actually mulch it a bit. I see another scoop down here of more Stay Green. I'm going to just give this thing, now this soil is going to settle quite a bit when I start watering. In fact, you can see I'll press down some. Yeah, see there? It went way down. So I'm probably going to have to use every last bit of what I have in this bucket. I don't want there to be, if this works, I don't want there to be any doubt that I did it wrong and caused it to mutate. Or maybe mountain lions start growing out of this thing. I don't know. Imagine a hot pepper mountain lion. I'm being stupid now, people. Okay, so there we go. It looks like a little pepper plant, but look, it is all the way down to the bottom of this bucket. Okay, there we go. Some of you that know me know my history. I worked at Ace Hardware. That's actually where my friend Kip gave me my first pepper. First tomato plant that started this all off. But yeah, so there we go. That's the experiment. And I want to see how this goes. I'll be back, I don't know, a month or two. We'll have to see what happens. I want to see some good growth coming out of here is what I want to see. If I start seeing some good growth coming out of this, we know we're going to be on our way. So for me, it might be a couple months. For you, it's just going to be a couple seconds. So here we go. Good morning. It is March 29th, 54 days later. And, well, take a look. This thing has survived. In fact, look at all the new growth on it. And it's actually done some really good stuff. I'm very excited. But that's not the thing I'm wondering about. The thing, of course, I'm wondering about is if there's new roots developed along the stem of that very tall, slender Fatali plant that we had back February 6th. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply gently pour this out into a tray here. I've got just a tray, and we're going to see what's in there. Here we go. Come on. Now, if this thing is surviving, which I'm pretty sure it's going to, I actually have a place for it over in the pepper bed, in the raised beds, and it's going to go in the ground anyway, but hopefully we won't disturb these roots too much. I am going to try to be as careful as I can. It's like an archaeological dig down here. I see the ribbon. So before we look at the actual stem, there were a lot of extra roots growing through the fabric that I put at the bottom. I'm glad I put it down there because it kind of holds on to these things. Yeah, unfortunately I did a little root pruning, but it can survive that. And as expected, the roots developed and grew. Look at that, look at that. That's beautiful. And so that looks really good, but let's look closely at this stem, okay? So to get the best microscopic view with your phone's camera, zoom it all the way in, and then go in on what you want to see. And look here. Now, that does not look like new growth. That is not a root. There is, see, that's a leaf that broke off before. And again, there's that ribbon, just to confirm. There's the ribbon that we tied on it at the very original ground level. But I'm looking for anything that looks like might be a root coming out, and to be honest, I see nothing. Now, interestingly enough, this little leaf right here was below the soil was just barely above that. And this little leaf right here has started growing below the soil level by maybe half an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. But I'm going, in fact, let me flip this over. Now, what is this right here? Right there. Get it in the can, okay. Oh, that is just dirt, okay. And it actually looks like a new leaf is growing right there, in fact. Look at that. This is underground. And it's trying to grow new leaves. Interesting. Well, I'm going to say that peppers do not grow adventitious roots. And I was wrong. Here's another new leaf. So this thing's going to start shooting new leaves off where it lost these other leaves. Which means I need to bury this pretty close to the same level as it was when we first abused this poor plant. The interesting thing is, look at the growth on this thing. I mean, just tons and tons of new growth everywhere. It took off. And it was really enjoying spreading its wings. So that's good news. But I'm going to bury this probably about an inch deeper, not that much, considering how much it's thrived along here and is actually trying to push out new leaves and so forth. So I'm going to end up putting this in the garden like it was originally. And my conclusion is adventitious roots do not grow on pepper plants. 54 days and nothing grew, not even a start. Now this right here, this is a leaf. That is a leaf, I'm pretty sure. It feels like a leaf. I know the other one is right above it. That's a leaf. So yeah, there you go. I was wrong. But it was a success because I learned something. And don't be afraid to learn something. And here's the big kicker here, people. If you're going to ask a question, don't be afraid of the answer. Sometimes the answer is not going to be what you expected. Sometimes it will be. Question is, the thing is, you got an answer, and that's what you're looking for. So don't always be sad about getting a negative answer to a question that you had. This is truly an experiment. I was wrong, and I'm happy to admit that. Luke at MI Gardener, you are still my sensei, or at least one of them. If you have not subscribed yet to Bowtie Life, please do. If you're just stumbling along and finding us, I appreciate a subscription. It helps grow the channel. And it helps, you know, as you're out there looking at other gardening channels and homesteading channels, it helps to grow the overall community. And the overall community is what's so important. We are building such a fantastic resource for knowledge for future generations that can come in here and learn from our mistakes, our wrong assumptions. And how great is it to be able to look at something and say, oh, well, there's something I didn't realize. It didn't work. In fact, Jess over at Roots and Refuge on her video, it was either last night or this morning, I think it was this morning, she said the same thing, which I was already planning to do this conclusion today, but she kind of put a burn on me to get this thing done. So a lot of good people out there, and I mention these people many times because all of them are important, every single one of them. And I'm learning from them. You can learn from them. It's a huge community that we can all learn from and grow from and develop better gardens from. That is knowledge base. And again, whether they're right or wrong, that's not the point. The point is we're learning something. And yeah, I was wrong. I was way wrong about this thing. So anyway, those of you who have subscribed, I appreciate your subscription. Dead Chinese giant pepper from Christmas trees. All subscriptions help, and I appreciate it all, and all the watching helps. And you know, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and if you found it entertaining, educational, or informational, share it with your friends on your social media pages like Facebook and so forth. But I'm going to put this, I see I've got it in a little bit of water because it sat out for just a few minutes, and I noticed those roots were getting a little dry. I'm very pleased with myself remembering to put the sticks in now when I know where the roots are. It's better to put those sticks in before they get big because you don't want to damage too much of the roots. And we've already done a little bit of stress on it. So anyway, there we go. 54-day experiment to see if we can grow adventitious roots from the stem of a pepper plant. And I'm concluding we cannot. So if you find any different, oh, please tell me. And in the description, in the comments below, if you've had success growing them, post a video. You can go to the Facebook page and message me, and I'll post it. I'd love to see more information on this. Maybe some peppers do adventitious roots. I don't know. Yeah. So there you go, and be sure and follow along, and don't miss other things like how we put this little planter here together. I'm not going to reveal the whole thing, but I'll put a link at the end of the video to that video. It came out before this one, but it didn't get posted until after today. So I've been running a little bit behind this week. Anyway, all that being said, you know, if you watch me very much, you know where we end. Say it with me. Have a blessed day.